that TNT, aka Warner Brothers Media, has decided to match Amazon's bid for the National Basketball Association.
So this is surprising to me. I had a feeling TNT would match an offer, but I didn't expect it to be Amazon's. I thought it would be NBC's bid because essentially it feels like NBC, Peacock, whatever you want to say there, is the one that's replacing TNT in the long run. That's just how I'm interpreting this whole thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
I get the way you're interpreting it, but I think that the NBA and TNT have made it clear that if they were going to renew negotiating rights, it would have been for a lower package, which sounded like the Amazon package that they were going for because it was no secret that NBA was trying to get the NBC back into things. Um, I will say off rip, I hope the NBA does go to TNT and they do not decide to go to Amazon Prime. It's not to keep inside the NBA. It's really not. For me, it is about the value of what you are getting out of your media rights partners. And that is the fact that you already have a streaming deal, in my opinion, with Peacock, where the NBA is going to have multiple games per week exclusively on Peacock. They already announced with this media rights deal that it's going to be 7 days a week post NFL season. There's going to be a national basketball game on every single day of the week, and 2 or 3 of those days is are going to be Peacock exclusives. For me, you add the streaming with Peacock. You have your broadcast reach with not only NBC but with ABC as well. Outside of ESPN, there was no cable component to this media rights deal. And even though we've talked about the media rights and the cable industry is not as strong, obviously, and is in a decline, I think sports is the one area that it's not going to be declining. Sports is the one reason why people still have cable. And so, for that reason, that is the majority of why I want the NBA to stay on TNT. And also because of the great announcers they already have: Ian Eagle, Kevin Arwin, Reggie Miller, Greg Anthony, you name them.
okay, so you may not care as much about the inside the NBA, but I do. I love um, listening to Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal just banter with each other, and I like the analysis Kenny the Jet Smith gives, even when he trips going upstairs to get to that like giant board. Um, but I like their analysis, so I hope they stay. But it almost feels like the NBA is trying to copy the NFL because if you remember, the NFL has moved Thursday night football to be exclusively on Amazon, whereas it used to be on like NFL Network or whatever. Um, and so now the NBA's like, oh, we got to try and keep up with our biggest competitor. How do we do that? Let's get on the same networks as them. So it makes me wonder if I know the NBA is probably going to shore up their media rights deal by the end of this week or whatever. That's just my guess. But at some point, does the NBA try to get on Fox to even more match up with the NFL?
I don't see the NBA going to Fox. I think that if Fox wanted in on the NBA, they would have done it now. And I think Fox looks at it and they say, we have so much NFL content. We have so much college football content. We have college basketball content. And we have baseball that they don't necessarily have room for the NBA.
And maybe that's part of the reason why they're dropping Friday Night SmackDown for
Well,
WWE.
the biggest reason with that is the ad dollars were not worth it for them, and also because they could get college football on Friday nights in the Big Ten, which is what they're doing. Which obviously smart decision there. Um, but I think it's gonna be very interesting to see what the NBA does with this. I don't know the direction they're gonna go. Something tells me TNT has forced their way back into the media rights deal, and the NBA may have to take it, but I don't think the NBA wants to.
Yeah, but like the NBA knows Amazon is the bigger company, if you will. So that may be why they end up going with them and cutting TNT out. Really?
From the wording of what it sounds like to me, is that essentially the NBA may not have a choice. They may have to go to TNT.
Why do you say that?
Because I read in the contract that basically it says that that in the NBA on TNT's media rights contract, it basically said that if TNT were to lose the media rights package, they would have the right to counter any media deal, and when they do, essentially, if the NBA does not buy them out, they have to accept TNT's counteroffer.
Okay. So that's interesting because that makes things a lot more complicated, I would say.
Which is why they push so hard to make a counter offer, because now they have the leverage over Amazon.
Yeah, but again, to go back to my original point, it was NBC that kind of jumped the line ahead of them. So I'm surprised that TNT tried is matching Amazon's offer rather than NBC.
Well, and as I said, I think the NBA has made it really crystal clear, and they did it before they even started negotiating these media rights deal, that NBC was going to get back in the race. And, I think that everybody wants the NBA and NBC back. Everybody is happy about it. And I think even TNT and Warner has realized that they were not going to be number two in command anymore for the NBA, that they were always looking at, as it was reported, to be that third partner, to sort of take a step back, to be the one with the play in tournament and the in season tournament and the first round of playoff games, not necessarily the conference finals every single year.
What it makes me wonder though is is NBA TV connected with Warner Brothers?
NBA TV, I do not believe it is, and I have not heard anything on the front of NBA TV when it comes to these contracts.
Because I know NBA TV broadcasts a handful of games throughout the season as well. So how do they factor into all of this? That's what I'm wondering.
My guess is that NBA TV is going to turn into what NFL Network essentially is now, which the NFL is trying to go away from NFL Network as a whole, especially when it comes to broadcasting games. They've been cutting a lot of people and running a lot of old content. I think that's what the NBA TV is going to turn into. I don't think it's necessarily going to be this big media rights package, because not a lot of people in every home gets the NBA TV.
Yeah. Do you think okay, so but we know NFL Red Zone is a popular thing because you see other stations trying to copycat it. Do you think we could see something like that for the NBA?
Well, I think they already have League Pass, and it's obviously been successful. And the difference between League Pass and NFL Red Zone is the NFL is only 1 day a week, the NBA is seven. So I don't think it's necessarily necessary, because you have League Pass, you're going to watch the game that you want to watch.
Fair enough.